is there's really been a move towards interdisciplinary study that I don't think has happened as much here in Italy. So we have a Wharton certificate that about half our students take. LLMs can take classes across the university, and we have a lot of professors who are both teach both in the law school and at Penn, and almost all of them have a master's or PhD in another discipline. So law at Penn and to some extent in the US has really become not isolated, but how it interacts with other fields.
One thing that I think that students should understand is that applying to these universities, as you've heard, is very competitive, and you need to give yourself some advanced time to prepare, especially for the standardized English test, which is a different type of test. It's a multiple choice test with also with a written essay and then usually a spoken component. But given that some of the test center places here are limited in Milan, you need to plan in advance. So first, start planning and at least get your English proficiency test, preferably the TOEFL if you're applying to the United States. If you're thinking to apply to the UK, the IELTS test through the British Council is more widely accepted there. So plan for one or both of those tests. The second thing is then starting to think about your CV, putting down your past work experience, and even if it's not related to law, a lot of those part-time jobs maybe that you've had are also good experience, and it kind of shows some sense of being able to manage your time and your studies simultaneously. So I like to see the CV put together in kind of a very synthetic, actually a succinct way that expresses exactly what you've done and kind of gives me a sense of timeline in terms of what you've been doing the last 3 to 5 years of your life. I don't need to know about liceo if you've already gone your high school period, but I really would like to know about your undergraduate period here. Then the next part is, really putting together your statement of purpose, really having it reflect your academic, your intellectual interest, as well as what you see yourself doing in the future, and showing some thought and putting that together and coming up with a very well-written statement of purpose, I think, is essential. After that, then, are the letters of recommendation. And one thing that is highly valued in the United States is a confidential letter, meaning that you did not write that letter, but actually a mentor or a former supervisor, a professor that has known you well has written that letter.
Okay. So you would say that this is beneficial to understanding better the profession that you will leave tomorrow and also to prepare your studies.
Yes.
For that.
Yes,
basically.
I would say yes, just to get a practical approach and to law, and just also to understand what you want to do in your life, not just waiting 5 years of law school and just trying to work in a law firm for 5 or 6 years, 6 months, and then you switch from a law firm to a court, and then from a court to a not-profit association or an organization.
I agree with you, and I think at least the Milan universities are making an effort to make this possible. They created the possibility for good students, top students actually, to attend, to do an anticipated internship within, which also would count towards the professional training. So that's, maybe they heard you there. How does the repayment work?
The repayment work, and this is the very good point, because it's a fund that allows you 2 years after graduation to have the repayment, and the repayment, so the amount that you repaid, it goes to another student for doing the master or the LLM or whatever. So it's a really sort of a circular restitution that allows all the students to continuously go and go advance. All the board is pro bono work. We only have just one employee of the fund, so really 90% of 99% point something of the money, it goes back to the student for giving this opportunity.
We want to know also a little bit if you prepare the students for legal English and if you think that's a gap in their preparation.
Yes. I personally started in 1991 when I was a law student at the public university in Milan to organize the first legal English course. And Just Legal Services has been offering legal English, legal French, legal German courses. And there are a lot of students who are interested in those courses. And in fact, I think that when you are thinking or planning either to attend an LLM or to go abroad for a master program, you of course have to take care to all those aspects that Mary mentioned before, including your English knowledge. But I would add that you have to take into consideration legal English if you want to travel to UK or US. So you must, of course, sit and pass IELTS or TOEFL or the other exams that are required by UK or US university. But you also have to take into consideration your level of the technical language. And so this is the reason because we offer those kind of courses, and I repeat, we reported a ongoing increase of interest among the Italian students and the Italian young lawyers.
This school is addressed to provide the tools to understand better the legal needs of the companies and how it works. Because our teachers are mostly in-house, are experienced the legal counsel that has the scope to go on with the trade, to give the tools to the young people that want to understand better how became a manager of the company, not only with legal skills, but with an understanding of the strategical needs of the company. And this means to have surely a technical, really excellent technical skills, so-called hard skills, and so the knowledge, legal drafts, etc., and so on, and obviously also a great ethics, but not only. In addition to technical skills, in the last years is mostly required also managerial and soft skills. And because the business context is continuously evolving, also the skills need to be developed continuously. And so also it means that in addition to legal knowledge, we need to have an open window to interdisciplinary matters. In the school, we have also finance, for example, understanding balance, that it's really important for a lawyer, and other crossing matters like legal project management or technology information. In a short, today's professional activity could not longer be understood only as an application of what has been learned during the school, but today is the continuous learning that is important to cover our role. So sure, these two soft skills are important also in the future, but there are a further skills that can arise from the 10th position to the top 3, and it's creativity. Now in the company asked to us to be creative as the other management, and to have the vision to understand how the business goes and to give the new solutions that is completely different from the past. And I had also my personal signature style. For me, it's important, passion for the role.
More and more increase and interest in attending those schools, because the lawyers will have a need and will have the will to be specialized, not only on paper, because you get a certificate, you pass the final written and oral test, but also because you need to obtain specialized competencies. What we did in Just Legal Services, if we can show the first slide, is to activate those programs 15 years ago. We started with the first master's program in 2001. Now we have a number of master programs. We spent the name master for long courses, long postgraduate courses lasting for us at least 6 months. We have on the market also a number of masters that are not really master. I think that the future is that to have more students to attend those courses, maybe also after the 3 years law degree, and probably also an increase of people willing maybe after the law degree or maybe after the school of specialization to attend an LLM or a master abroad.
I think one thing that's been mentioned by all of the panel members here is the need for interdisciplinary education. And if there's an area that you're interested in, whether it be business, real estate, finance, there are also masters in finance, there's masters in business administration, there's a number of other courses that one can look at. And so I think while the LLM certainly has been like the foundation or the degree that many look to as a first option, just know that there are many other options out there for you. Keep in mind, though, if you are looking at some of these other masters, they will require different standardized admission tests. For example, if you're going to look at an MBA, you'll need to take the GMAT, the Graduate Management Aptitude Test. If you're looking at some of the master's degrees, a master's in science in the United States, you may need to take the Graduate Record exam. These exams do require some advanced preparation as well, so keep that in mind when you're starting to make this timeline to make your applications in advance.
When you have the opportunity to come to a program in the U.S. and interact with people from all different cultures, you're going to not only learn about their education and this, you're going to understand their culture better. So when you're dealing in business matters, legal matters later, you have a better sense of just how to act and to understand when people have different ways of approaching things and different ways of communication. So I think soft skills are incredibly important. The cost of education in the U.S. is incredibly expensive. Actually, I'll reveal, we both have undergraduate children in college in the U.S., and when we were getting ready for this, we were bemoaning the cost of higher education in the U.S., which is really out of control. So our tuition is, I think, about $67,000, and then living expenses. Philadelphia is a relatively inexpensive city in the U.S., but it's incredibly expensive. We do offer merit aid, and people can just check a box to be considered, but that's limited. So we encourage people to pursue other opportunities, such as your wonderful fund. We have a company that does loans with our LLMs. We don't really have a formal relationship with them, but we recommend it to students to pursue that. So it is incredibly expensive, but I believe well worth it.
I think one thing that's been mentioned by all of the panel members here is the need for interdisciplinary education. And if there's an area that you're interested in, whether it be business, real estate, finance, there are also masters in finance, there's masters in business administration, there's a number of other courses that one can look at. And so I think while the LLM certainly has been like the foundation or the degree that many look to as a first option, just know that there are many other options out there for you. Keep in mind, though, if you are looking at some of these other masters, they will require different standardized admission tests. For example, if you're going to look at an MBA, you'll need to take the GMAT, the Graduate Management Aptitude Test. If you're looking at some of the master's degrees, a master's in science in the United States, you may need to take the Graduate Record exam. These exams do require some advanced preparation as well, so keep that in mind when you're starting to make this timeline to make your applications in advance.